Hi, guys. This is Car Talks with Mama, and I'm Jillian, and across from me on FaceTime is my mom.
Hi, I'm Amanda, also Mama, and this is episode 1.
So, what are we talking about today?
You are not in the car with me, even though this is Car Talks.
Yeah, we're in 2 different cars, about 16 hours apart from each other.
Yep.
And
So you're away at college, and I'm here, and you miss me.
yeah,
You miss talking in the car with me.
you miss me more than I miss you.
Probably.
Especially because I started classes today, this week. So,
Junior year,
yep,
college, 16 hours away from me.
yep.
And so we're starting this podcast, and everybody hopefully is going to listen, and you got to tell them why. Why did we call it Car Talks?
Well, we called it Car Talks. For the deep conversations you have in the car. What else do you do besides talk nonsense and talk about whatever you want in the car? It's like,
Right.
there's every level of relationship happens in a vehicle. There's a school trip where you don't barely know the people and you just kind of talk about little nonsense things that don't really mean anything. And then there's you and I, mom and daughter relationship that gets deep and talks about all things life.
Yep.
And then you have roommate conversations, you have just first meeting friend conversations. There is a whole magnitude of conversations that can happen in the car.
When you were a little girl, you were probably like, I think when I realized it the most, you were probably about in 3rd grade, I'd say. 3rd, 4th grade. And that's when you really started, like, I guess your social life kicked up, awareness of friends and the dynamics of friendships and all that stuff. I think it kicked up. And then that's when I would have you next to me in the car, and it was like,
Pour your heart out.
Pour my heart out, yeah. As a mom, I love it. Like, I love that I could be there for you. But it's funny because others would call it, like, diarrhea of the mouth. Like, would she shut up already?
Ew.
You know?
Oh, yeah, they hate it.
Yeah. Not diarrhea of the mouth. You're so funny.
No.
Well, yeah, too. But, like, that whole term of, like, you never stop talking. And that's how Dad feels. Your dad feels about it.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
a lot of people hate when people just want to talk and talk to them.
But as a mom and as a daughter, I think, like, that's total therapy time.
Yeah, and, like, it's an opportunity to open up, and it's, like, an opportunity to just pour your heart out.
Yeah.
And, like, from my understanding, for a mom, it's like, "Oh my god, my kid's talking to me. Oh my god, my kid's telling me about their social life finally, or they're finally, revealing things to me." And because it's like, I mean, you and I never really had the issue of, like, my kid doesn't talk to me because I talk to you all the time.
Yeah. Some do, and it's funny because, and our people don't know yet.
Oh, there's Marty.
Yeah. That,
He's so cute.
I'm a teacher. This is Marty. And so I'm so comfortable around kids and teens and all of that. And when I talk to people and they're like, my kid won't talk to me, they won't open up and all this stuff, I tell them just take them for a ride. Go make them run errands with you. Go make just tell them, even if it means, okay, you got to stop and buy my ice cream cone too. But, like,
yeah,
yep, come to Home Depot with me, do whatever. And next thing you know, take the long way to Home Depot. And then next thing you know that that child
Yeah,
is
turn the
opening
music
up.
down a little bit,
Yeah, they're opening up totally.
you know,
Yep,
sit
yep.
in silence and don't poke. The
No.
biggest thing that was so irritating for me was when, "What's wrong? What's wrong? Why are you what's wrong? What's happening? Why aren't you, talking to me? Why are you making that face? What happened? What happened?" Like, those prying questions, and you never did that to me, but friends and people around me would do that to me. It's like,
Yeah.
I am still working through it myself. Like,
Mm.
I don't even understand what happened enough for me to start explaining to you what happened, you know?
Yeah, I would tell people to, yeah, take the long way, and then, yeah, don't pry. Don't
Mhm.
just talk about anything, and then next
Yeah,
thing you
just
know, like,
say
issues will come up.
just as simple as because the kid, if I'm in that position, I'm not really listening to what you're saying to me. If you're sitting there going like, "I was thinking about getting some milk and maybe we'll get stuff to make grilled cheese." Like, if you're just saying that stuff, I'm
Right?
not really listening. I'm thinking about whatever it is that happened to me that day, especially when you can tell that like the kid or whoever or me, I guess you as the parent can tell that something's going on. Yeah.
You have
And so it's
issues
like,
going on. There's something up.
that's when
Yeah,
it's so
yeah, there's something
important
up.
to just have that opportunity. And so here we are in the car having the conversations now at, I'm an adult now at this point and I can understand what some of those conversations were, how silly some of it was or whatever. But now it's you and I are able to have a conversation that maybe a lot of people didn't get the opportunity.
You miss me.
No.
You miss me. You miss me. Come on, you can humor me. So I have to go to the park to record because I have to go to town, which is such an odd. I was thinking about this on my way over here because I don't have good signal at home. And I was like, I have to go to town, and how we have to use the phrase going to town for things. And I just don't think that's common. I think people don't say that. I think they just,
I don't yeah, no.
it's just,
It's
that's like
too
rural
close.
area.
You're so right. That's so true. Oh my god, I
Yeah,
didn't even think
that's a
about that.
rural
For a lot of
thing.
people
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
and for a lot of people there's not even enough time to have a
And
car
think about
talk
it though,
with
like
anyone.
yeah, you're right though. You're right. And there isn't enough time. But I had to come to town to get 3 bars. And
Right.
I'm by the police station and I still only have 3 bars.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. You'd think they'd have
yeah.
that better.
Like that's, and I'm like, oh, I'll go over by the police station because then I'll have better signal. But you're right. You know what? And maybe that's part of it with us is because we have such a long drive to get everywhere. You know,
That we have the
we
time.
have to get to like shopping, like a Kohl's or Ulta Beauty or any
Literally
like
anything.
anything besides Meyer Walmart. Um, well, those are an hour away. So just like the Kohl's and Ulta and basic shopping, basic like mid-level shopping, an hour away. That's, and when you're young, like me, I don't really care so much about stuff. But when you're young and you know you're going to do school shopping or
Yeah.
need to get things for a sport you're in or whatever, that's hour drive time. Hour
Yeah.
drive time.
Yeah. So for us, it was like,
Yeah.
yeah, that was the opportunity. You're stuck in a
Yeah.
car for an hour, sometimes two,
Yeah.
sometimes
But to go
three,
to
to go get
town, just to
something we
go
need.
get, like, we need milk and toilet paper. That's a 20 minute,
That's
20
still half.
minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
that's still 20
Eh,
minutes, sometimes
yeah.
half an hour, depending on which way you go.
And you're
Like,
right. I think some people don't live like that. Okay, so this is my other question for you though, is do you think, because we've been away now for apart pretty much for 2 solid years. You've been back home here and there and we've um vacationed and visited you and stuff, but Do you think you're almost more comfortable now talking like this than in person with me?
I don't think so.
'Cause I feel like the
I don't
last
think
time
so.
we saw you, which was summertime, of course, there was lots of people there and stuff, but maybe it's just because we're alone, and when I see you there, we're not alone, that I get that feeling.
Yeah. Well, and you know, you, some of those personal conversations that you and I have are like, for me, I am not like one to tell people that I just met yesterday all about my
Well,
life stories,
that's just
which is
well, I think that's just
no, because
smart, but
some
you're
people
right, some
are.
people do that.
Some people will tell you all about
Yes,
everything. You know,
yes,
they meet you one day, and then the next time you see them, they're telling you all about whatever issue they
yeah,
have.
yeah.
And that's you and I. And that's what we like to call the curse, but we're going to do an entire episode on the curse.
And maybe that isn't normal for some people. It's just normal for us because we have the curse.
It's normal for us
And yeah,
because we have the
yeah.
curse. And you guys will
It's
learn what the
because you're
curse
right. It's not
is
normal for
in a
dad.
later episode.
Yeah.
No.
People don't pour
And
their heart
so,
out
yeah,
to
like,
dad because
no.
it's funny.
Yeah. And so, like, I don't know. And it just, there's certain conversations that are designated for mom.
Yeah,
And when other family is around, I love all my other family, but I know that I want to have that conversation with just mom,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know? And so it's like, I don't know. I do think that this has become a normal, though, of us being on FaceTime, which is really weird. I didn't even think
So think
about
about
that.
this though. Like, so people always ask me what it's like, you not being near me, and oh my gosh, especially people at
Yeah,
school and my work and all that. They're always like,
right.
oh,
Yeah, because they all know who I
yeah,
am and
yeah.
whatever.
So that they're like, oh my gosh, do you miss her and all this stuff? And of course I do, but I always tell them I would be miserable without FaceTime. And I don't know what
Yeah.
other I I don't I really don't have an idea of what it would feel like to not be able to see you, and we laugh all the time and joke like how great grandpa and great grandma, they're like, never in my life did I ever think I would ever just be able to have video calling,
Well,
and they would
yeah.
just be there video calling. And
To just like talk to someone
yeah,
instantly.
I mean, they died in their mid-90s, but I remember them telling your dad that, and we showed them and we're FaceTiming with them because that was just several years ago. But
Yeah. I think I remember
I
that
don't,
too.
I would be struggling so much more if we did not have FaceTime
Yeah.
because the phone call just doesn't feel the same.
No. Yeah, just like this kind of phone call where you can't
Yeah.
see.
Do you know that
Yeah.
you never call me on the phone?
No, I
Almost
FaceTime
like
you.
I would say like 95% of the time you're FaceTiming, and then the other 5% you
Literally.
text.
And most of the time the text is, I'm going to FaceTime you later.
Yeah. I'm gonna
Just so you know. Because and you know why I FaceTime is because you don't answer texts.
not quickly, no. Why do you have to? You
And
don't
so
have
I'll
to. But
text
that's
you.
all.
I'll text you to give you a heads up. Yeah. Like we're not going to go and write each other a letter.
Yeah. This
Like, hey, I'm going to write my mom a letter real
technology
quick.
changed.
Give me a
So why do I have to answer texts quickly? Does that bug you?
Sometimes. It bugs me when it's a Saturday at 2 in the afternoon and I know that you're just sitting on the couch and you watched the text come in and
What?
decided not to reply.
What? What makes you think Saturday at 2 in the afternoon I am sitting on the couch watching texts come in? Do you think that's all I'm doing on
Because
my weekend?
10 minutes
Is sitting there
later,
just waiting for.
because 10 minutes later, when I FaceTime you, you answer.
No.
And I say, did you see my text? And you'll go, yeah, but I just didn't answer.
Oh, well, there's a lot of people that could probably chime in on this one, but I don't answer texts promptly.
Yeah, we know you don't answer text. But
So
Never. I
Why?
try to never text you when you're at work. That's why I expect a reply when you're not at work, and I text
Why do
you
I have
because
to
I'm
answer
respectful and
text promptly though?
because texts are quick.
What if
Texts
I
are
don't have my
supposed to be
phone
like,
by me?
"Hey, I need to know this."
I don't.
It's 2024. You should have your phone by you.
No. I don't want
Yes.
to live with my phone attached to me though.
But that's
I
It's
I
not
want to
attached.
decide if I want to decide
No.
when I'm going to answer somebody, when I'm going to talk to somebody. I want to make that. I want to decide
No,
that.
the
Like right now, I
reason
just ignored a phone call. A
No,
phone call came
I
in.
should be an exception for that. No, I'm interrupting you. I should be an exception for that because I'm 16 hours away, and if I text you and say, "I'm trying to get a prescription and I can't, I need you to answer me right this
No.
second," and you don't do it, I'm an exception. I'm 16 hours away.
I
I
always
should be an
should answer if
exception.
it's you. What makes you better than grandma? My mom is 5 hours away. I do the same thing to her.
Grandma doesn't leave the house.
There's
Grandma's not
somebody
getting a
who's sitting
ditch.
there watching the text come in on Saturday at 2 in the afternoon.
I know, but she's less likely to be dead in a ditch.
Oh my God. And
I
I am
more likely.
Yeah. Because I'll get a harebrained idea that I'm just going to go walk 5 miles or something.
No, I'm more likely to be dead in a ditch than grandma. That's why you should answer me. That's
You're
why
like,
I'm the exception to your I don't want to text back rule.
I don't think, do you really think, and it could be just like a generational thing. And we're going to do a whole episode on
Yes.
the Gen Z versus Gen Xers. Like, and it's funny
Right.
because when you're teaching high schoolers, because I'm with high schoolers all day long, who I adore them. I love them. They're awesome. Almost all of them are really awesome. And that's a whole nother show, the stereotypes of high schoolers. Totally are inaccurate.
Right.
But there's such like a gap between what I think is like the phone etiquette or the right and wrong or whatever. Like you're telling me I should have my phone with me. Yeah, what do you think I was going to say?
I didn't know. I didn't know where you were going.
We're talking about
when the second you said phone, when you said phone etiquette, I was like,
yeah. Well, you said like because you have to answer or whatever right away.
Yeah, you answer texts. Texts are
what
quick.
if I don't want to?
Texts are like quick. You don't have a choice.
Yes,
That's
I do.
phone etiquette. No, you don't. You have a choice whether or not you answer a FaceTime.
I don't feel no. I don't feel like I have to.
Let me restate.
So am I supposed to keep it like in my pocket at all times to answer texts? And I mean, obviously not while I'm working or whatever.
No,
but like
you're supposed to check it more than every 3 hours.
3 hours? Why?
Because it only takes 10 minutes for me to be dead in a ditch.
Well, if you're already dead, what's the difference? It doesn't matter. You're dead.
Just want my body.
It doesn't matter.
Okay,
that ship sailed then. It's already over.
No, this is text etiquette. The reason, it's because texts are quick. Texts are, for my generation, texts are, hey, did you get the homework? I'm about to go to class. And in 5 minutes, when you're in class and you still haven't gotten a text back, you're like, shit, I don't have the homework now because they didn't answer. And so it's some of that stuff of like, I just need like a quick communication or like a quick, like, hey, I'm at this place and
I was going to interrupt you and make fun of you for not having your homework done, but I know that's not your point.
It's like, okay,
it's like,
okay,
it's not their responsibility how to get your homework. No, I know what you mean though.
let's say I'm in one of my major buildings and I'm in the hallway and I bump into someone and they're like, hey, are you able to do you know so and so? Are you able to ask them if they're
Reach
available
I
for
yeah,
this?
yeah.
And I text that person, I say, "Hey, I just ran into someone. They want to know if you're available for this."
I
And you don't respond for 3 hours, you're gonna miss out. Like,
Well,
that's
see, but
why.
that's the I'm not as
But if
important as
it's,
you. It doesn't matter to me. Like,
"But what if I text you?"
I'm not at that point in my life. Like, I don't I just like, at work I mean, at work's different anyway because I don't have my phone out and about, but
Oh my god, I'm watching it. There's a dog pooping right next to me. Gross.
so, like, that
I
whole I'm in a different
Whatever.
place, I think, than you. But
Yeah,
I know
you
what you mean
are.
because dad would like me to answer right away too because he's in the moment, like, he's driving truck, and so if he's stopping to text, that's, like, his
Yeah.
moment, and so I get it. So sometimes I don't know. I think
It's
part
not
of it is just
it's
I'm
almost like
so
you should be
busy.
answering texts quickly, especially for dad. Oh my god, that's so true.
I have such a busy life when I'm in school, when I'm teaching. It's just so intense all the time because I'm a blue personality and which is a whole nother
Well,
conversation. And
people don't know what's a well,
well, well, that's a whole thing we could talk about another time, but it's a color code and I can talk about
that
that.
you are obsessed with.
I'm not obsessed with it, but I just think it's clever and I'm more um I'm just so aware of people and their personalities and their emotions. People like to say, "Oh, you're like people are empaths." People are throwing that around and stuff. And I
I
don't
hate
really,
that word empath.
I know, I don't really define myself like that. Like, I don't define it that way, but I do have this like, it's that the curse, and I'm just so connected with people, and they share so much with me that I think I just get so I just need to shut off things.
Yeah, you become overwhelmed.
Yeah, I just need
Yeah,
to shut off. And that includes my texting.
I know. So, this podcast is so that way my mom will finally answer my phone. That's the point of this podcast.
So I'll talk to
That's
you.
why I convinced her.
Yeah.
So that way she'll finally talk to me and answer her damn phone.
Actually, let's talk about that for a second. This podcast. I think really
Yeah.
what it's really about is a mom and a daughter and how you and I talk to each other and share and
We talk
connect and
more like friends too.
analyze and but let me argue that though. I don't see you as like a friend. You are not
Me
in
neither.
the friend zone for me. You are my daughter. And I
Yeah, and you are my
cherish you
mom.
as my daughter.
Yeah.
But I
But most people who are outside observers see our conversations as like a best friend, like how a best friend would talk to
yeah, I
somebody.
suppose so. Yeah.
Which I know that you and I don't have that. Like, we
I wouldn't give
know
you the same advice I would give like a casual
a
friend
friend.
or a best friend. Like Jenny, I would not
Yeah.
give you the same advice as her
Yeah. But
because
it
I feel
just
differently about you.
but from outside looking in, we seem like
I suppose so,
we
yeah.
don't talk like a mother and daughter do. And that's part of why this I think we wanted to do this podcast too, is because we wanted to show that because that we have such a different dynamic compared to a lot of families or parent versus kid dynamic. And so I think it's going to be good, and I hope that people can like absorb something out of it that they maybe don't receive from their own family like
Yeah.
dynamic.
Yeah.
Because
That's funny
just
because
for
like go ahead.
from perspective, like I always thought that most people talked to their mom the same
Yeah.
way that you and I did. And because I didn't really have friends in high school or middle school that I like got really, really close with.
Right.
And Like, cause like, I don't
That's
talk to anybody
episode
that I went to
whatever,
school.
whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Cause like, yeah, like, I don't talk to anybody I go to school with, so I would not consider those people, like, my close friends anymore 'cause I don't know them anymore. They're
No,
different people
no.
now, and I'm a different
Yeah,
person now.
no,
But
definitely
my
not.
roommates who I've become really close with here at school, especially with having to deal with living together, like, seeing how they communicate with their parents about different things, it's so drastically different to how you and I talk
Yeah,
because,
yeah. When you live
like,
with
my
someone, you observe and see things and you, like,
and
just
just the
become
way, like, how and it's how it's I think the biggest, um like, I guess, issue between for that is how big of a wall do you have up between each other? How guarded are you? Because I would like I share with you, you share with me, and I share with you a lot more things that I think a lot of families would think is taboo to share between a parent and a kid.
yeah, I think I have
Like,
an almost 0 wall with you. Like,
yeah,
there's
almost zero.
things, like, between dad and I that as a husband and
Yeah,
wife that
obviously.
we share that I would not share
Yeah.
with you,
And if I
but
ever got into a relationship, I would
yeah, I
not
don't wanna
share
hear a
some
thing.
things with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And
even, but that's probably, like, the only thing. I mean, if your brother had something private, I wouldn't share it with you, but
right.
I yeah, that's just really, like, no subject off limits that I'm
No, not
pretty
really.
much able to.
Like, okay, to be blunt, you had a sit down period talk with me when I was probably 9,
Yeah,
8 or 9. You
yeah.
sat me down, looked at me, and gave me all the gory details and how a period works and what it is and what I'm going to experience and what I need to be prepared for and who to talk to and a
Do you
full
know
in
why,
detail
though?
conversation.
Do you know why
What?
I did that, though? Because that's what grandma did with me. Do you know
Yeah,
why grandma did that with me? Because
because her mom didn't do it with her.
her mom didn't do it with her,
Right.
and grandma did not
And
want me
she
to be
didn't want that to
scared.
happen.
Yep, and so I passed it on to you. I was not gonna let you be scared
And do you know
because my
what's
mom,
crazy?
because grandma was scared.
Yeah, because she didn't know what was happening to her.
Yeah, freaked her
And
out.
do you know what's crazy
I think she
is
probably knew because her sister probably told her or whatever, but, like, but really, she didn't really get it and didn't, like, she didn't have
yeah,
a full
no.
understanding, and so, okay, so this is funny. I'm gonna tell grandma's story, and because this is a perspective. Her mom
Mhm.
told her that because when she was going into middle school, her mom told her that if you touch a prior to that, if you touch a boy, you'll get pregnant.
Right.
And so
I
she
think you told me
walked
yeah,
in.
you told me
Yeah, I
this.
know. So she walks into middle school and walks
It's
into the hallway, and it's jam packed with kids. She went to a school that was super crowded comparative to a lot now. So lots of kids in the hallway. And of course, they're all bumping to each other. And my mom's smart. So she looked at them all, and her reaction was, she lied to me. Oh my
mhm.
God, she lied to me. Like, that's a scene in the movie. Like, I can see that
Yeah.
in a movie.
Oh,
Having that
definitely.
conversation with your mom, showing up at middle school, watching it, and I can visualize the whole thing, like her standing in the hallway watching from her point of view all these people, and she's going,
Yeah.
"She lied to me." So,
Yeah, like a
she,
voiceover, like,
yeah,
looming. Yeah.
right. So
Yeah.
she did that. She wasn't gonna let us feel scared or whatever, and I wasn't gonna let you do that either.
Right.
And it's funny because, like, I kind of think a lot of in my mind, like, don't a lot of people have those conversations? And I get that,
No.
and I
That's
know,
where I was going.
yeah.
That's where I was going with this. They don't have those conversations because I had that conversation with my roommates. Like,
See,
I
isn't that
talked to them
weird?
and I said and I was like and not in the I'm not giving my roommates the period talk. We're adults. We know what it is.
Well, no.
But the
But what, like, did
comparison
you get the
of
period talk? Yeah.
yes.
Mhm.
And like I had a moment where I was like, "Your mom never told you that?" And they were like, no, like, and I was like, "Did your mom never, like, sat you down and had the conversation?" They were like, "No." Like, she was like, "She kinda did, but, like, I kinda just figured it out." And I was like, "What?" Like, that was just crazy to me that they, like, didn't have,
Or
like,
their
that
friends
deep
told them or
conversation.
whatever, or if they had
Or
older
yeah, or
sister.
however, and they
Yeah,
obviously didn't reveal to me, like, exactly how it went down or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
But, like, and it was crazy to me that that's normal for majority of people. We are the weird ones for having that deep conversation. Like, we're the weird ones. Most people don't experience that.
Are we
And so,
though? Like, really? Are we?
we're not weird, but
No,
we
not
are.
weird, but are we really the only ones? Well, I'm sure we
It
are weird, but
feels it
there's weird
feels
weird
like
and
it.
there's normal weird. Remember that?
Normal weird. Yes. There's
we're
weird weird and
we're
there's normal
normal
weird.
weird, then
We're
there's weird
normal
weird.
weird.
Do you feel bad for the like your friends who don't have this kind of
Yeah.
dialogue or haven't
Um
experienced the car talks or whatever?
I well, my only friends are my roommates, so this is who I'm gonna base this off of. Like, or my only friends that I've ever talked about this kind of stuff with is them. Uh,
Yeah.
because I have other friends, but the I don't think it's that they like I don't think that like they do talk to their parents. They do have a good relationship with their parents, but it's different. Like I talk like I'll be like it's just really different. Like it's not that they're not as close. Like I would say that they're just as close with their parents as you and I are, but it's just a very different kind of close. Like you and I, there's almost no conversation that we can't have. You know what I mean? Like there's no touchy subject. There's no I don't know if I should tell my mom this. Like there's none of that. Like
Yeah.
I think that
Like
like
I do. Like I feel bad for them. I I feel bad when I learn that
well, you hear about
if
it
I were
from
to
a lot
learn
more
that
people than I do because you hear kids all day tell you that
yeah,
they wish
if
that their mom would talk to them
yeah,
the way you talk to them.
yeah.
But
Yeah, it's I feel sad for I guess sad is the best way. I feel sad to think that
like
they
like
aren't
they didn't
able
experience the same.
to have this clarity. Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, they don't have the same
Well, you
thing.
think, but
Yeah, and in some of our family members, I like people that are in our family that are close to us. When I see that they don't have that
yeah,
either, it makes me feel sad for them
yeah.
too.
I think we're lucky. I mean, it's not, but like I said though, it's not that the people that I know aren't close with their mom or their dad or whoever. It's just that it's a different closeness. Like, I just think that I don't know, I think you did that for me because you were extremely black and white on pretty much anything and everything like my whole childhood. Like if it came and I think this is the one that
What do you mean by
I'm
black
going to
and
tell
white though?
you.
Like, because like black and white to me, it's like this is right and this is
No.
wrong. Because
That's
I'm not
no,
that kind
that's
of a
not what I mean
person.
by
So what
black
do you
and white.
mean?
And this is an example that I think will make you know what I mean. Um Something that you always told me and my brother about was money. You never ever made us think that
Yeah,
we had more than like because we weren't, you know, the richest.
it was just full
Yes,
disclosure,
it
totally
was
transparent.
completely transparent. It
You
was
knew like if we had extra this week, we could
right.
go and do. If we knew if we didn't,
But
we didn't.
yeah, it
Yeah,
was yeah, either we had it or we didn't. It was, "Hey, I have an extra $50. Do you wanna go get a new pair of shoes?" Like, little stuff like that where it was like and you used to make me or well, I guess dad used to do this. You used to have me sort the receipts for dad, And so
Yeah.
for me,
Yeah.
like, I mean, you might not have even realized that this was doing this for me, but for me, when I was seeing that, I had so much perspective and so much insight on how much things costed, especially for dad, because I would,
No, I just saw what it was doing for me and that I didn't have to
right.
resort to
But for me,
receipts.
I looked at this fuel receipt from Shell that said over $300 for dad's truck to get
Yeah.
filled up. And I said, oh my God, they just
Yeah.
spent 300. Like, so I understood and saw how much you were already having to spend just to make money. And so I always was like, oh, that's just how it is. Like, you just have to, like, I just knew that it wasn't, I knew that your entire paycheck wasn't just sitting there waiting to be spent. Most of it was getting spent on the $300 fuel or the
Yeah.
$50 food
Yeah.
or whatever it was that I was seeing on these receipts that I was sorting. Like, I think, like, now I'm able to articulate that, but as a kid, I didn't really know what it was that I was understanding, but now when I think back on it, I know that that's what I was seeing, and that's what I was like, "Oh, like, they don't have a lot of money, this is where all the money went." Like, the money went to dad being able to work and, and paying bills.
It's funny because dad, like when we're around people's children, like little children, like 1 year olds, 2 year olds, like you and George talked so
Yeah,
early when you were little. Um, so George is your brother. For people who are don't know, George is your brother. So you guys spoke. You could speak so good
yeah.
at such a young age, and clear and big words and all of this stuff.
Mhm.
Um and dad always teased me because I talk. So you just talk all the time.
Which is so important
But we
to
did
talk.
talk to you guys. We talked to you guys all the
Yeah, it's so
time.
important to talk to your kid.
And I didn't baby talk you, and we talked to you about things, and I see it repeating with my niece and her
Yeah,
twins. And I see it repeating, like she is talking to
yeah.
them, and now they're like, the 2-year-old is using this big word like, oh, this thing is balanced or whatever. Like, what 2-year-old says something
You're
is
like, "How do you know that
balanced?
word?"
And she didn't even remember teaching it to
But
her,
it's just
because
because
she,
people don't realize that kids absorb everything all the time. They're
yeah. And
always
yeah, I see it
listening.
repeating. And it's funny to see the benefit. Like, I just did what came natural. Like, there's no guidebook for raising your children. There's no owner's manual. And so I just did what felt right. And I know, like, my niece is doing what feels right. So it's just, I don't know. I do feel bad for people who didn't have the same experience. And not that I felt like, because I have all the right answers, because I 100% do not think that. I don't feel that. I don't think that. But what I do feel like is that life is really hard. It can be really great. It can be all the emotions, every single thing that we all feel, and all those emotions we have. But I feel like together, like you and I together, we can problem
Yeah,
solve. We can figure things out. We can at least make each other feel
uh-huh,
better in that moment.
yeah,
You're so much smarter than me. And so I feel like you are so smart, and so, like, sometimes you're not always right. Well, maybe you are always right. but I just feel like we can, like, think through and problem solve,
well, we're
and
capable of having hard
you know
conversations and making amends and coming to a conclusion, and a lot of people are not capable of working through, like, a lot of people.
I'm not as good
Yeah,
at
but
that
okay, this is
as
what I
you
mean.
though. I'm not good at hard
No, but you are though,
conversations
because this is
at
what
all.
a lot of people toss around, I hate confrontation. It's not that you hate confrontation, it's that you're too scared to work through the issue because you don't want to have to deal with it. Like, you don't want to have to deal with the heavy emotion of it. Like, and you and I are so capable of working. That's the big thing. Is people a lot of take that too literally, that it's I'm good at working through problems. It's emotion that makes the difference. It's like you and I are capable of working through emotions and working through, like, okay, this is the problem and I know that this is what I have to do to fix it, but I feel like because I feel this certain way about it, that's what's making it difficult for me to go through with what I know I need to do. And so it's like you and I are capable of talking through why we feel the way that we feel, and we know that, like, we will say to each other, like, well, you can't feel that way, and we'll go, I know, I know, I know. And, like,
Yeah.
we're just
Yeah.
capable of
Say the hard
saying the
things.
hard thing, and calling each other
Yeah. Say the
and
hard
calling
things.
each other out,
It's,
and knowing
yeah.
that, like, if I call
In a
yes,
nice way, though.
and
Out of
calling you out
love.
and knowing that I'm not meaning it in a way to make you mad. I'm holding you accountable because I know that no one else will, and at the end of the day, we'll still love each other. Like, it's that
Yeah.
idea of you hold me accountable, I hold you accountable. We're capable of calling each other out on
And then go
BS.
do whatever you want in
Yeah,
the end.
and
Go do whatever you
but,
want at
like,
the end.
you
Who
know,
cares?
it's just
No.
that whole
I know.
idea of,
I
like,
know.
so many people, it's about getting butt hurt. So many people get butt hurt really fast. They think that, especially when it's a
You are so right about
especially when
that,
it's a
though.
parent.
Like, you're right. Because you and
When it's coming from a
like,
parent,
I don't
that's when
think
people
that,
get butt hurt. Because a lot of people, when they are growing up,
I
they don't want their mom to
suppose,
keep telling them what to do. They think, well, why are you telling me what to do? I'm an adult. You like I don't know why you think you can tell me what to do. Like, a lot of people have that mindset, but it's like that's not their
so, but that's the thing, though. Like, I don't tell you what to do.
no. No, you don't.
That's a whole nother show about letting your adult children be
Yeah.
adults.
And
And we're going to touch on
you're
that
there to
later.
help, but you're not
but
there to, like, you're not there. You always say handle your own situation. You're not there to handle the situation for
yeah,
me. You're just someone that can hold my hand through it. But you're not going to deal with it for me. I still have to
yeah,
deal
I'll
with
hug
it,
you the whole way. You
you
need it.
know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, and it comes back to also people, all of us, none of us like to be
That we're wrong.
told or pointed out that we're
Yep.
wrong.
I
What were
said
you
that
gonna
we're
say?
wrong.
That we're wrong? I couldn't hear you. Yeah, that we're wrong. Like, people, or that their idea isn't
Uh-huh.
good, or anything that shuts down the self-esteem.
Yeah.
People, that's just really hard for anybody to
Yeah.
hear. Like, nobody likes to hear that stuff. We all want to feel like our ideas are great, that we're making the right decisions, that we're doing really good in our life, that you know, we're we all want to have like that high self-esteem. Like, deep down, I think we do. I guess some people do have low self-esteem. I'm not, like, for sure. Like, and there's moments we all have low
Yeah.
self-esteem. But, like, when you're in conversation like this with your parents in the car and you're getting counsel, and it's, you're in third grade and you're sitting next to me and you're telling me all about how the little girls at school ticked you off and they wrote notes behind your back about you, and just all these things that were super hurtful, and, like, it in those moments as a mom, like, I have to coach you through it and help you through it, and you have to feel it, and it's hard. Like, those moments are hard. It's hard to watch your kid
Yeah.
get hurt. It's hard to watch, um like, it's hard, those growing pains, they're feeling all these things, and you're getting
Yeah.
thicker skin because of it, or you're growing up because of it, and just dealing with life. And I think the other thing is, I think that it would have and could have been really easy for me to, like, head pat you and blow you off.
Yeah.
Like
"Oh, it'll be okay. Let's just go
like
get an ice cream and move on." Like,
yeah, or like, "I don't have time to talk to you about this right now," or like
whatever.
because I was always a working
Yeah.
full-time mom. And so just so busy, so much responsibility. We always had our own business. We were running a farm, running a truck, doing trucking. It was always, which is just a whole nother level of stress to a
Right.
household. We are always so busy. And it could have been really easy for me to just like, yeah, head pat you
Uh,
away. Oh, you'll be fine. Here, give me a hug
right.
and move
Yeah.
on. But I never did
Mhm.
that. I never wanted to do that to
And a
you
lot of
or
times at that stage for a kid, you're not looking for advice and you're not looking to fix it. You're just looking for someone to hear you. You just
well, that's all the
Yeah,
time. That's
that's
all
for
the time.
anyone. Anyone and everyone.
100%.
But
That's all the time. And
as a kid, you're
honestly,
so
I
much harder to as a kid, it's so much harder to comprehend why you're feeling the way you're feeling. Once you get to an adult, yeah, we always want someone to
oh,
hear us, but we
agreed.
know why we're feeling those feelings. And so for a kid, it's so much
Right.
more important to have that opportunity to just let it out because you don't even understand it. Like you are so
Well, and that's the
confused.
thing. You didn't understand it. You don't understand it at
No.
that age, and it's a mountain
Mhm.
in front of you. So I think as a parent, like it could have been, I was like, my mountains were like, if you really wanted to measure what we were dealing with in our lives in those moments, the third grade girl in my car, picking her up off the school bus, she's in tears. What mountains were we facing that day? My personal mountains, my business mountains, my work mountains, if you really wanted to measure, were huge comparatively. Like huge. Like, were we going to be able to make the
Right.
house payment? Or like, just some big
But
thing,
I'm still just
right?
a third grade girl who doesn't know that any of that exists.
You're just a third grade girl. And that in that moment was the most
Right.
important thing to you.
Because as
So
because
in that
you
moment, it had to be the most important thing to me
right.
too.
Because you always say your perception a person's perception is their reality. A person
Yep. Always. You don't know
Mhm.
anything. Like you're a little girl. You
No.
didn't know anything. And so
And that was the
in those
worst and at
moments,
that time, that was the worst
yeah.
thing that I had ever experienced, and there was nothing else I could
Yeah.
compare it to, and so that was just the most horrible thing that I could have ever had happen to me because I didn't know anything
Right.
else. And, now
Right.
I've
Yep,
experienced
and it's even now. Yeah, but, like, even now, it's the same thing now. If you and I FaceTime and you have something going on with your roommates at school, trying to navigate, you know, hospital visits because of your allergies
right,
or whatever it is, like, what I even then, like, that's the reality that you are in at that
right.
moment. And I my job is to hold
Yeah.
you up.
Yeah, not make you feel bad for
You, dad, your
right.
brother.
If I call you and say, "Oh
Uh-huh.
my god,
My job's to
I have
hold you
so
up.
much anxiety about calling this doctor. I really didn't like him last time. I just am having a really hard time making that phone call." If your response to me is, "Well, just do it. It's just a phone call." I'm going to feel so much worse. I'm
You're pissed
pissed
at
at
me.
you.
Oh,
I
yeah. The wall
and
just
you
went up.
never did that to me. You never did that to me, which I'm
Uh-uh.
so grateful that you didn't. But I know a lot of people whose parents would do that to them and say, "Suck it up." But I can suck it up when I make that phone call. I can suck it up when I go out and tell my roommates, "Hey, I'm gonna be gone."
In that
But
moment, you wanted to be
in that
heard.
moment, I want my mom. I want someone who can just listen to me
Yeah.
and let me
Yeah.
cry for a minute and I want my mom to know that after this conversation, I am capable of making that phone call. I am capable of going to that doctor's visit or whatever it is. But I just needed somewhere where I could let it out because I know that I have to hide it from everyone else. Because if I walk into a doctor's
Do you think
office
a person
crying and saying, "I don't know what to tell you guys, I never did it," like, they're not gonna take me
Yeah,
seriously, they're not
yeah.
gonna respect me, and I know that, and everyone knows that, and so a parent is the one that's there for that conversation, for that moment to cry, to let it out, so that way 2 minutes later, I can call the phone and say, "Hi, I need to schedule an appointment for Jillian."
No, you can
Like,
handle it. Like, I gotta get this
yeah,
out and then I can
yeah.
handle it. Yep. Well, and that's the other thing, like, so do you think a person there's so much to being heard, like, do you think a person that isn't heard, they feel lost and
Oh,
forgotten,
absolutely. I think more
right?
forgotten than
Like, I
lost. Forgotten.
forgotten, like, isolated, lonely. One of the things, I didn't start teaching until I was 44 years old,
Yeah.
and I went right into high school, and from day 1, I swear it felt like day 1, and then as it's 6.5 years later, if anybody asks me, like, what high schoolers are like or whatever, we get in conversations about that, I always say they just want
Yeah.
to be heard. They want to be heard. And I don't mean like they want to like hear in class,
No.
um they want to, it's not an academic
No.
heard. They want to be heard as
Yep.
individuals and as people. And and the and it's not just the high schoolers though. It's my
Oh, yeah.
coworkers, it's my,
Everybody.
people my friends, people want and they deserve to be
Right.
heard.
And they're not looking for you to do anything about what they're telling you about. Like, I think so many
Uh-uh.
people who experience that where someone comes to them with something that they want to talk to them about, the people on the listening end of it have a lot of people have this idea that they need to fix it for that other person, and so then they get
Yeah, or riddle them with
right. But
advice.
the thing that I think a lot of people like, they then get irritated that this person is putting their issue on me, and they think, well, why do they expect me to fix it for them? They don't expect you to fix it for them.
Or the you should
No, they
start,
don't expect you to
right?
fix it for them.
Yeah, the you should do this, you
They
should do
just
that.
expect someone
Mhm.
to listen to them for a minute, because they need to
Yeah,
explain it to someone so that way they can work out what they need to do. Like, they're not asking you to fix it. They're not asking you to handle it. They're not
yeah.
asking you to
And there's counsel in it. There's way
yeah.
to counsel and help and give advice and all that stuff.
There's way to be the person that gives advice, but
Yeah.
most people are never seeking
But
advice.
even like
It's
you and
like how
I,
you're saying most
we
people
but we give each other advice all the
no, but
time.
it's like how we were saying earlier, most people want to be right, they want to be the best, and they don't want to feel belittled, and so they are if they have an issue and they're coming to someone, the last thing that they want is someone else's advice, because they already know that they know how to fix it. They just need someone, like, whoever's has the issue just
Yeah,
needs
the sounding boards,
right.
the talk,
They're like,
yeah, yeah,
it's
or feel
the
heard. It's not even just
it's
sounding
the
board,
why
it's
are
deeper
you
than
giving
that.
advice as if
It's
you know better than me? You didn't even experience what I'm telling you. It's that thought, you know?
yeah. Yeah, I suppose so, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I do wish there's so much to dig deep in. I have there's so much you and I have
Yeah.
experienced that is that we I know are excited to share. Um there's a lot that's gone on between our families and your health and
Yeah.
like, you know, just
A lot of emotionally
our
driven
relationships and
experiences.
yeah.
And
And I know we're excited to share it. Um I think that one of the places that we share the most where it's just there's nothing else going on is in our
yeah.
car. And when we are in the car together and doing our car talks, there's the distractions are
Mhm.
limited. All we're doing is driving,
Yeah.
and the conversation flows and things can happen. And
It feels like there is an endless amount of time.
oh yeah, we can solve all world peace right
Yeah.
then. No, we can't solve
Right.
world peace, but
Wouldn't that be nice?
we can make yeah. It is where our relationship was probably built the
Oh,
most.
Yeah.
Is right here in the car.
So to close our podcast, I thought it would be fun to give the audience a song to listen to because I love music and Mom loves music. And I'm actually going to show this song in one of my classes tomorrow. And it's by Britney Howard, who you and I know and love so much, which I could do an entire episode by myself on Britney Howard. And it's called 13th Century Metal, and it's on her Jamie album. And you can listen to it on Spotify or go watch her live performances on YouTube. They're incredible. But the reason I said that song is because her message in that song is so relevant to every single point in time, in life, in political issue, in social issue, in anything you can think of. And she repeats at the end of the song over and over again, give it to love. And I think that that is so important for people to remember that at the end of the day, all that we have is love. And the most important is to give it to people who don't experience it. And it's just an incredible song. The instrumentation in it is beautiful. It's heavy, it's powerful, it's meaningful. Her lyrics are meaningful. You can tell how passionate she is about it. And I just think that everyone needs to listen to it and listen to her message in almost all of her music. And that's that love can overpower anything and everything.
Okay. So I love it. Mine is I love it because the first one that came to my head is by Bastille, and it's a song called Warmth, and it's from an older album of theirs.
Yep.
And it also is about love and about being the warmth of someone's arms, about going to somebody where you feel safe and secure. And it's just a fantastic song. And there is a version of it on YouTube that they recorded with an orchestra. I think it was an orchestra from Berlin. I can't remember. But if you just look up the Philharmonic Orchestra, Bastille Warmth, that is my favorite version of that song. The one they released on the radio is faster, more like pop. But same thing. It's about showing love.